Hey everyone, my name is JJ Paulson. I'm a student entrepreneur and co-founder of the tech startup Perch. I want to invite you for coffee and conversation on our weekly series, Coffee Talks. We're here to showcase the heartbeat of Gainesville's entrepreneurial spirit. I want to give a quick thank you as this series is made possible by Afternoon Roasting and Seven Ashes Productions. So grab your favorite mug, settle in, and let's explore the exciting world of entrepreneurship together. Now let's meet this week's guest.
Hello everyone, welcome to this episode of Coffee Talks. Thank you so much to our production team, Seven Ashes Production and Afternoon Roasting for helping us host this episode. Today we have Grace. She is the head coordinator of Ignite. Grace, I'd love to just hear a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background, and tell me where we're at right now.
Yeah, so I'm actually in my master's for mechanical engineering. I will be graduating this summer, studying abroad in Berlin, taking classes in engineering innovation and entrepreneurship with our director, Professor Sander, who is the director for the Engineering Innovation Institute, who is the academic arm of our programming here with Ignite. The full Ignite is the Innovation Gator Network for inspiring technological entrepreneurship, but we just stick with Ignite, and we have many programs with getting students actual hands-on experience in both the innovative mindset and the entrepreneurial spirit, which includes projects and internships. And this space specifically is a little bit of our incubator, but also kind of like our headquarters for Ignite. So it's not specifically for startups or only for startups, but also just for students to come and collaborate and exchange ideas. And it's been really great having it in the Malachowski Hall, where it's the center for, technology revolution and collaboration amongst so many different colleges. And this space has really just been a really great time to build our community, because we are a new program that just started this past September.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So yeah, I know this is a new building. What kind of programs do you guys have in this current location at Spark Studio?
Yeah, so really we have been trying to do the most to make this space, a community and environment that is, open to students, but also it's kind of like an area for students to feel like they can fail fast, and it's an environment where they feel like they can do that. Where a lot of times in an academic setting, failure means that you have a giant F written on your paper, and it's something that your parents aren't proud of, and that you will try to avoid the most as a student. Mm-hmm. But in innovation and entrepreneurship, failure is essential. And so having a community and an area where students can talk about their journeys, mm-hmm. That is what this space is used for. And so we've had our creativity program in here. We've hosted workshops with different aspects of landscape analysis, mm-hmm. and networking, learning how to network. Mm-hmm. It's really a multifaceted space. But Spark Studio kind of surrounds our Spark program, which is helping student startups. And our big dream here is to just increase the amount of startups that are coming out of the University of Florida.
Amazing. Seeing this culture cultivate in an academic building is amazing, I think. So yeah. It's really unique to UF, and I really like that. So I want to hear a little bit more about your background. So I know you just talked about your future plans. Let's talk about your past a little bit. What got you to the position that you are today?
Yeah, so I knew I wanted to be in engineering because I really wanted to make an impact, and I wanted to help people. Mm-hmm. So I kind of started out with biomed, thinking that was the only way I could actually impact people. And I quickly realized that anybody in engineering is going to have an impact on society. Absolutely. And so I went into mechanical engineering, and now I'm in my master's. And mm-hmm. It's really because I enjoy learning how the world works and things that people wouldn't think twice about. Mm-hmm. So I'm going into a company that manufactures chemicals for processes like creating your toilet paper and your napkins and power plants
Things
and
that you don't
boilers.
think of, right? Like
No,
it's-
literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And so we even like sanitation and like your pool chemicals, like
Wow,
just
okay.
a bunch of different markets. And I'm going to be in a newly created role that I kind of advocated for because I saw that there was a gap with this company in, implementing new technology and the pace that it was like happening at. And so my new role is a technical implementation specialist. You want to like wave hands with the role and like that title. But what I'm really going to be doing is kind of like project managing the implementation of IoT devices and cloud services at our different customer sites.
Okay, so what type of technology are you going to be implementing? Is that like is it like enterprise technology or the technology that we were talking about, the chemicals and that sort of thing?
So it's more on the hardware side and controls. So in these systems, they're, giant processes that have a bunch of different components to it. And so, with AI and all of these different automation technologies that are really booming right now, that's kind of the space where we're just automating a lot of different systems throughout the process.
Okay.
And making that making that information accessible anywhere. With the cloud, you can have it directly on your phone. And so while a lot of our site representatives are on call 24/7 because these systems never stop, they're able to, look at their phone and see the systems at 2 a.m. when they get that alarm and potentially do some problem solving from there.
Cool. So let's talk a little bit more about Spark
Yeah.
and Ignite. So what type of students do you guys welcome, and what type of students usually come to the events or to Spark Studio itself? How would you describe?
Yeah. Something that I'm really, really excited about is that we're open to all students. And so we have engineers and business students, art students, people from the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. Everybody is being drawn here. And I think this is the first time in my academic career where I've really seen that type of collaboration, especially outside of the College of Engineering. We have 18 different majors in the College of Engineering. And so there's a lot of like programs that focus on the interdisciplinary work between those majors, but really nothing that brings together all of these different colleges. And like being at a university, it's such a unique atmosphere where you have so many different colleges and students who have different passions and are like following different career paths. And so that has been really interesting. And it's honestly given me a bit of a wake-up call to how like my perspective is very engineering oriented, and hearing from other students, like it kind of unveils that perspective and opens up our ideas. And so most of the students that come through are either interested in innovation, whether that's on a large scale company basis or they are interested in the smaller scale companies, or they have their own ideas and they are wanting to create something with their own ventures and creating businesses.
Yeah, I totally, I love the idea of having everybody come together under one organization, but I'm really interested in how this dynamic works between business students, right, and engineering students. Like, is this something that you see very collaborative and something where one student complements the other student's skill set, or is it something that where they kind of can have a clash of ideas sometimes?
Yeah, so particularly, we have a program called the Innovation Fellows. And this has been a collaboration between the College of Engineering and the College of Business for 6 cohorts now. I was in the 4th cohort my junior year. And it's really fun because you get put on projects with like specific engineering and business majors that are kind of tailored to what the company has in mind for the project that they're working on. And so one of them is a startup that is working on, subleasing and being the between of students who want to sublease their apartment and, getting people to sublease. And so part of the students that are on this team are business marketing students.
Really cool.
And that has been really interesting because, coming from an engineering background, looking at some of these like marketing trends and, doing the data analytics and kind of coming up with like what's the best plan, it is not intuitive for an engineering student at all. But for the marketing student, they are like on cloud nine, enjoying this like experience and are wanting to even take it further working with the company. And so really these different perspectives have just elevated the projects that they've been working on.
So this fellowship is under Ignite, correct?
Yeah.
And so then do students sometimes do work with startups that lead to full-time opportunities? Is that something that happens?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So some of them are local startups and others are, larger mid-sized companies. And so a lot of our programs will get the students integrated into these different working environments. And as they continue to work, they really get a personal connection with a lot of these founders. And so I think that is something that is really valuable when you're coming from a perspective of getting students internships and projects to work on, because when you're in these smaller companies, you're wearing so many different hats. You're seeing every aspect of the product, not just from the engineering design standpoint, but you're seeing how that actually impacts the business.
Yeah, and I think that's what's so great about working at a smaller company is that you're not working on a small task in a huge machine. You're working on a variety of different tasks, and you get to see so many different sides of the business. And that's why I think I'm such a huge advocate for having, starting off your career or having experience in a small company.
Yeah.
I think that's a really great way to start off seeing what, the general landscape looks like.
Yeah, actually one of our founding coordinators for this thing, or one of our programs called the Immersion Program, he started working in a company and did several internships with startups, and he now has a full-time position working in DC. One of his customers is the NSA, and he has equity at this company. And so the opportunities to really start your career in this space has already shown massive success through our program.
Yeah. So this was through Ignite that they got full placement?
Yeah, so because we are, branding ourselves as Ignite starting this past September, this student had been working with the Engineering Innovation Institute. He was in my cohort for the Innovation Fellows a couple of years ago. And so him and I have been really working with the Institute and kind of pushing them towards this, students need to be leading these programs and initiatives, because when you have students leading the initiatives, the other students follow and they see how impactful it is, because it's hard for faculty members sometimes to relate to what the student needs are.
Definitely, and I think you could kind of also lead by example, right? You've went through these programs, and somebody that wants to be in the position that you are today is just going to follow the same path. So you kind of just pave a way there. So I think that's really
cool. Definitely a little bit of paving, but we also consider ourselves a startup in our own because we did just start this past September. It was only mid-January that we had our first general body meeting with more than just our leadership team. And so we're definitely still learning what works, what gets students in the door, and how to really make an impact on the university as a whole.
Yeah. So let's talk more about entrepreneurship in Gainesville, or let's talk about student entrepreneurs. What would you say is the biggest challenge for student entrepreneurs today?
I think that we've ran into a lot of misconception about the different communities surrounding innovation in Gainesville. Innovation has turned into a buzzword kind of within the past couple of years.
Entrepreneurship, I think.
Yeah. And so, students, they don't know where to go to be able to get some of this mentorship and accessibility to these resources. And so, understanding what is going to be the best way, what and who do you need to connect with to be able to actually get your ideas going. And I think that a lot of students have ideas and they don't know how to take that next step, how to just start. And so, especially in the engineering college, A lot of our students are from in-state. They have bright futures. They went to school here for free. They didn't really make any risky decisions going from high school into college. And so how are you going to convince them not to just go off and do a big time engineering role and have a comfy job? How are you going to convince them that they should take a more riskier decision starting their own company? So that's kind of the culture that we're trying to make an impact.
Yeah. I think that we were having a conversation about this before, how entrepreneurship seems like there's no path to it, right? It's kind of, which is kind of true by nature, but I think there could be a path, especially in education. Not necessarily like taking a class in entrepreneurship, but I'm saying being at a place like this where you're at least surrounded by people that want to do something like this. So I think that really serves a very important purpose. So so let's talk more about student entrepreneurs. The entrepreneurs that come here, are they usually so they're just in the ideation phase, or are they really working to try to make a prototype?
Yeah, we've seen students who are kind of in all different sections of the process. I would say a majority are working on creating their MVPs and testing it with customers. And so some of them are, even still doing the research into like, is this even feasible? Like, can I even like create something like this? And especially with trying to protect IP, it's difficult to get into like research labs to be able to, use university resources while maintaining your IP as well.
Because then becomes IP issues with the university as well?
Yeah, however, every single undergrad, unless they have like a written contract with a research facility, all of their intellectual property is their own.
Oh, really?
Yes, and so that's something that we like really try to highlight with our students because, just being at a university, it's one of the first thoughts that a lot of our students have, which is really good that they're thinking about it. But here we don't take any equity, and all of our conversations are confidential. And so they're really able to, work on their progress and, have the collaborations that they need and the connections within the community that will move them forward.
Okay, amazing. So connections, what type of connections can students expect with other than having other than having more access to labs? Like what other connections do you guys have within the Gainesville region?
Yeah, so our director, Professor Eric Sander, has been mentors for startups in the community for over a decade now.
Wow. Okay.
And so he has really been a really great resource connecting us to entrepreneurs who have, started in his class in the early 2000s and have actually come out of the university creating their own businesses. What we're trying to do is to increase the number of students who actually end up on that path. But I think that even just, connecting with these entrepreneurs, local like IP firm owners, students who need that mentorship and really need to have those connections, we'll be able to get them through our programs.
And so does that mean, what are you guys' goal for the startups here? Is it for them to stay in Gainesville, to continue interacting with the university, or is it kind of like a launch pad to wherever they want to go? How do you view it?
Yeah, I think our main goal is to just teach students to fail. Really. Amazing. I think that that's the main thing because like I told you before, especially in engineering, it's something that students are really averse to. And so whether they create a startup and they actually, do something with it after they graduate, amazing. If they're just like continuously coming up with new ideas and they continuously are failing, that's also a success.
Because eventually something is going to stick, right?
Yes. If they stay in Gainesville, like I am planning on staying in Gainesville for this next year, starting my career, because I do see the community rallying behind this cause, especially in the past couple of years. And so I think with San Francisco Tech City and a couple of others that are, nurturing this environment, I think that there's a lot of potential for students to stay in Gainesville.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we see so many different resources coming into UF. I mean, we have NVIDIA, right? NVIDIA donating so much money for this building. We have a very powerful supercomputer at UF. So there's a lot of resources coming into Gainesville. I'm a huge advocate for Gainesville as an innovation hub. So I think that's really great that we have, resources coming from outside the university and within the university. Great, great. So, I mean, I want to thank you so much, Grace, for coming on the show. Thank you all for watching this episode of Coffee Talks. Thank you so much, Grace, for being our wonderful guest, and we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, thank you, Guy, for inviting me.
Thank you.